Phagocytes. Now, there's a couple of problems that phagocytes have. The pathogen or the invader that they're trying to get a hold of may be so slick they can't swallow it. Okay? So, another component of the nonspecific system that is called into the area are your antimicrobial proteins. Your antimicrobial proteins. Now, the first type of antimicrobial protein are your complement proteins. Your complement proteins. Complement proteins are a set of proteins that circulate in the blood, sort of like the clotting proteins circulate in the blood. Now, complement proteins can do two different things, or three different things actually. The first thing they can do is they can opsonize an invader. Opsonize means put gunk all over it so that it's easier to catch and swallow. So the complement proteins help phagocytosis. Another thing that the complement protein can do is punch holes in the invader. And when you punch holes in an invader, their guts leak out and they die. Okay, so in other words, they can accomplish cell lysis. Cell lysis. They punch holes in the invader, and the invader turns. Okay. The third thing that they can do is they increase and enhance inflammation. So in addition to histamine, cytokines, and these other chemicals, the complement proteins also enhance the immune response in the area. Now, the other antimicrobial protein you might guess would exist if you've been paying attention. Are all invaders bacteria? No. Okay. Phagocytes take care of what? Bacteria and sometimes parasites. Okay. Complement takes care of what? Bacteria, okay, sometimes parasites. Is that the only kind of invaders that you can have? Viruses. The other type of antimicrobial protein is the interferons, which is right down here. Interferons. Interferons do a couple of things. Interferons also enhance the inflammatory response. Interferons enhance the inflammatory response. When you have a viral infection and you run a fever and feel like garbage, a lot of that is being produced by interferon. Okay. The malaise, the aches, the fever, the prostration in some cases, a lot of that is being produced by interferon. Makes you feel like garbage. Okay. Interferon is particularly released by cells that have been infected by a virus. Interferon is especially released by cells that have been infected by a virus. Now, viruses are nasty little critters. because they don't come out and fight clean. Okay? They hijack or invade cells. Can your immune system get at the virus if it's inside the cell? Not very easily. Okay? So your virus has a little hideout there inside the cell. The virus then hijacks the cell's machinery to produce more viruses. It lets those viruses go, and those viruses go out and infect more cells. And can the immune system do anything about it? Well, if the immune system catches the virus out in the open, it can. But once the virus has got into a cell, again, the immune system is kind of limited there. So one of the things that interferon does is it spreads the word. Hey, you've got virally infected cells here. You guys need to be on your guard. You need to lock your front door so the virus can't get in.
Mm-hmm.
It helps the surrounding cells be prepared for a virus attack so that it makes it harder for the virus to get into the cell. Now, there is a further type of cell here, and this is the last one that we're going to talk about as part of the non-specific defense. This last cell here is a lymphocyte. In general, lymphocytes are involved in the specific immune response. But there is an exception. There is a type of lymphocyte called a natural killer cell. A natural killer cell. And natural killer cells are said to do immunological surveillance. Now, when you do surveillance, what are you doing? Looking for trouble. Exactly. Okay. So, what natural killer cells do is they look for abnormal cells. Now, what is one of the ways that your body identifies cells as belonging to you?
The receptors.
The
Or the flags.
glycoproteins and the flags that are sticking out on the surface of the cell.
Mm-hmm.
So natural killer cells go along and they look at the surfaces of the cells. Right? And it's like, okay, you belong, you belong, you belong. You don't belong here because you don't have the right flags. Okay? The natural killer cell then can attack the abnormal cell and lyse it. Now, natural killer cells obviously would be involved if you have a tissue mismatch, like blood transfusion mismatch. That's real obvious to see because that tissue doesn't belong to you. But natural killer cells have been around a long time before anybody was putting tissues into another body. Natural killer cells are designed to take out abnormal cells and virally infected cells. Abnormal cells with abnormal uncontrolled growth are called cancer. Abnormal cells with abnormal uncontrolled growth, that's the definition of cancer on the cellular level. So natural killer cells take out cancer. Okay? The only reason why you get cancer is because somehow your immune system has fallen down on the job. And if they can figure out where the immune system has failed, then they can fix cancer. Now, viruses are interesting. Usually viruses destroy cells, but sometimes viruses just hang out. They're like a sleeper cell. They get inside a cell, and then they just stay there, and they lurk, and they wait. a natural killer cell can come along and kill a virally infected cell. Okay. How does it know the virus is there? Again, there will be signals on the surface of that virally infected cell. Viruses are also involved in producing cancer, and there's some really interesting reasons for that. I'm not exactly sure. I think we'll get to that in micro. Viruses can actually insert their DNA into your DNA and screw it up. Huh?
I thought that top virus was always
No, they don't always work like all. All right, so natural killer cells are specialized for taking out cancer cells, virally infected cells. They are not phagocytic, but they are part of the non-specific immune system. So we've gone through all the different component pieces here of the non-specific defense. Now, just a brief preview of what we're going to be talking about with the next lecture. After the test. There are other types of lymphocytes. There are other types of lymphocytes. Some lymphocytes develop into natural killer cells, as we just mentioned. Other lymphocytes develop into B cells, which produce antibodies. Other lymphocytes develop into T cells, which are also a type of killer cell. And we're going to talk about T cells and B cells in more detail next time. Okay. All right. Everybody with me? Mm-hmm. Okay, so what's going to be on this next test?
blood vessels, cardiac vessels,
The heart, the blood vessels, and the lymphatic system. Okay, I want everybody to take a partner. Everybody got a partner?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, I want you and your partner to go up to the lab, and I want you to find some kind of a body part, and I want you to think up a lab exam question for that body part, and write it out. Okay? All right? Okay, and then come get me.